Hey guys, it's Kathleen. Welcome back to my channel. I am doing a traditional what sold video. It has been 3 weeks since I have been able to get out there and thrift, and so I just don't have any footage for a thrift with me video. I will definitely be back in the trenches next weekend, but until then I am happily listing many things off of my death pile. I'm going to go over 30 items that sold within the last couple of weeks. Most of them are going to be from eBay, but there will be some from both Poshmark as well as a few Mercari sales. All right, I'm going to jump right into it. So the first thing that I have for you is this Pokemon Sun and Moon box set. I picked this up at a church rummage sale that I went to probably about a month and a half ago. I wasn't really sure about this. I don't know a lot about a Pokemon stuff. I have a lot of luck selling Pokemon stuff, but I don't know which are the high ticket items and which aren't. And I guess there's a version of this box set that I picked up that would sell really, really well if it were sealed. This is not that set, but I still was able to flip it. So I paid $2 for it at that church rummage and it flipped for $20. Next up is this set of two Villeroy Boch French Garden orange dessert plates. This was part of that huge lot that I picked up a couple of weeks ago. So if you remember, I picked up one lot for $75 one week, and then the following week I found another huge lot for only $30. So I have already sold so many pieces from this, and I don't even have it all listed yet because it takes me a while to get them listed because I always pre-package all of my breakables so that I have an accurate dimensions as well as weight to go into the listing because I've just been burned too many times by my horrible guessing. So I like to pre-box them and make sure everything is ready to just ship out. So these were, like I said, two dessert plates, and I paid maybe $2 for them, probably a little bit less, but they sold for $14. Next up are these two Anna Lee dolls. And Anna Lee is one of those things that I'm just drawn to. They don't really flip terribly high. I've had a few that have gone higher than others just because they're, more interesting. Like one I had Christmas lights that worked and it still had its tags on. Well, that's going to go higher, obviously. These two I picked up this summer when I went to visit my sister in New York. And this lady was getting rid of her collection and she was selling them all for $3 a piece. All of them were new and with their original tags. So that to me was definitely worth $3. I probably wouldn't have paid much more than that. And the reason I picked these two up were because I was going to lot them up together. These are from 2009 and it's a pair of Anna Lee dolls that are Santa and Mrs. Claus. I paid $6 for them and they flipped for $26. This next item has been listed, and actually it's a bundle, but both of these items in this bundle have been listed so long. This is a multicolor striped the sack purse that I picked up at a yard sale. I can't even remember how much I paid for them. I don't think I paid much more than $2 or $3 for this purse. It's like a shoulder bag. I always pick up the sack if I can get it for just a couple of dollars, but I can tell you right now, I don't pay like $5, $6, or $7 for these purses just because they don't sell terribly high, although they do have a good sell-through rate for me. And the next one is this Fossil purse, and Fossil is another purse line that I like to pick up when the price is right. This one was a vintage yellow leather purse, and honestly, I expected this one to sell a lot faster than it did. It has sat around at least a year, and it's probably closer to 2 years. But anyway, somebody put them together in a bundle. I paid maybe $5 tops for both of them together, and in a bundle, they went for $54. Okay, I have been hit-miss with the flatware that I've picked up sometimes. However, most recently, my most recent pickups of flatware have been home runs. The most recent one was those Oneida iced tea spoons with the seafood forks. Those sold so high and so fast. That was a great pickup. And this is the other one. This was a set of Reed and Barton stainless steel flatware. I got it at a yard sale for only $5. And this is just, I parted it all out. And so the 2 sets of spoons, the soup spoons, set of 5, and then a set of 5 teaspoons. They both sold within just a few days of each other. So I paid maybe $1 for each lot, and the teaspoons sold for $74, and then the soup spoons sold for $88. So fabulous pickup. I still have the forks and the knives yet to go. So now they have hung around a little while, a couple of months, but it just takes the right buyer. And actually the soup spoons sold first, and then the same buyer came back a few days later and bought the teaspoons. So really happy to see those moving out. Next up is this pair of Sam Edelman booties. It's the Palmer bootie, and it is in a size 11. It's like this black leather, really soft leather with kind of a V on the top of the bootie. I thought they were really cute. Sam Edelman is a bread and butter brand for me. I pick it up all the time. I love picking up their sandals, and I love picking up their boots. I've had a lot of luck moving their boots. They don't sell extremely high, but they always seem to move for me. So I'm usually going to pick them up if the price is right. I want to say I paid about $3 for this set of booties, and they sold for $28. Here is another set of that Villeroy Boch French Garden. This is for 4 salad plates, and it is in the Florence pattern. I paid maybe $4, probably a little less, and this set of 4 sold for $50. Okay, this item was another thing that just drew my eye, and I can't remember if this was at an estate sale or if it was at a yard sale, but it was these 3 Lefton Kewpie babies, and all 3 of them still had their Lefton sticker on the bottom, the red foil sticker, and they are from Japan, and they just were so stinking cute. I think I paid either $1 or $2 per, and they are just a fun little item that my eye was drawn to. And so sometimes I will just pick those things up just because if I like them, I figure somebody else is going to like them. They've been listed for several months, but they still sold. So maybe I paid $6 for the set of 3 of them, and they sold for $30. Okay, this Hallmark Jingle Pals snowman, I remember paying $5 for it at an estate sale. It is new, it still has the tags. I plugged in the batteries and it worked, because sometimes even though it's new with tags, you never know. Especially if it was an item that was sold with batteries, as a lot of those Hallmark things were, if it's vintage and it's new with the tags, those batteries have corroded over time. But this one did not, and this sold for $58. Karen picked up these 3 vintage 8-inch Care Bears. I cannot remember where she got them. She got them in 2002. And, over the summer, she said, hey, I'm never going to list these, just take them. So 0 cost of goods to me. I can't tell you what she paid for them, but she probably paid maybe $1 a piece for them. And the set of 3 sold for $30. I don't know if you remember me picking this huge Squishmallow up a couple of weeks ago at a yard sale. I paid only $2 for it. It was not new with tags, which usually the Squishmallows that I pick up, I like to pick up with the tags, but I made an exception for this one because of 2 things. First, it was Hello Kitty. So it was Hello Kitty branded. And the second reason was that it was just unique. It was mermaid themed. It was something that was very, very desirable, and it was huge. The huge ones tend to sell a little bit better for me, even if they don't have the tags. So I paid $2 for this, and she sold on Poshmark, I believe, for $36. So on my lunch break a couple of weeks ago at a conference, I stumbled upon a church rummage sale, and I picked up several items and dragged them back to my hotel and dragged them back to Alabama with me. And these next 2 items were 2 of those items that I picked up. They are Pella Select Handle, like door handles that you use with a door, like a storm door. And I've had a lot of luck selling door hardware. Not all of it sells the same, but I knew that Pella was a good brand. They were asking $5 a piece on each of these, and I paid $5 per item. So for the antique brass version of the door handle, That sold for $42, and then the oil rubbed bronze sold for $30. And I had gotten an offer on the antique brass one of $20. And I paused because I was like, well, I only paid $5 for it. I already sold the other one for $30. And then I'm like, you know what? They haven't been listed that long. And so I went back to them at $30 and they declined my offer. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay with that. And it wasn't but 3 hours later that it sold for full asking price. So sometimes you just got to stick to your guns. And it's hard for me to do that because a lot of times I'm like, I just want to get rid of it. I just want to move it on out. But I do tend to hold out a little bit longer when it's one of the newer items that I have listed. And in this case, I'm definitely glad I did. Next up are these vintage Tobin stamped embroidery placemats in a kit, and the kit is new and sealed, and I picked it up at the same churchyard sale. I picked up a bunch of sealed kits. This one I paid $2 for, and it sold for $10. I was anticipating that this was going to sell a little bit closer to the $15 to $20 mark, but still it sold really fast. And again, these embroidery kits are just easy to photograph, store, ship. I mean, they're kind of a no-brainer. I usually like to pick them up for $1 or less. But these, because they were so vintage and they were also holiday oriented, I figured they would move, and I wasn't wrong. So not a bad pickup, just not as high of a return on investment as I usually like to get. I also sold these JBU Jambu Nordic fur-lined booties. I picked these up at a yard sale, and I want to say I paid $2. I was having a little bit of trouble remembering exactly where I found them and exactly what I paid for them. But I would not have paid more than $2 or $3 for these booties. These were in a size 11 and they were in really, really good condition, but they didn't come with the box. Sometimes when they come boxed, I will pay a couple of dollars more because the box just makes them more desirable to people. So I'm pretty sure I only paid about $2 for these, and they sold for $18. Next up is this Honeywell universal remote for ceiling fans. And so I picked this up at that same churchyard sale that I went on during my lunch break. I paid only $1 for this. It was brand new and in the package, and this sold very quickly for $20. I think I had it listed for $28 and took an offer for $20 just because I only paid $1 for it. And so I was totally fine with taking an $8 discount to just move it on out fast. Do not sleep on new old stock. Always take the time to scan it really quickly into the eBay app and see if it's anything that's worth picking up. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just total crap. But a lot of times these name brand things, when they are new and in the package, they are going to sell, and they're usually going to sell pretty quickly. At least most of the things that I have picked up recently seem to have been moving, obviously, because I sold 2 door handles and a ceiling fan remote. But definitely don't pass them by. Don't look them over. Okay, and next is another Hummel. This is the 6-inch version of the Heavenly Angel Hummel. I also have a larger version. I can't remember how many inches, maybe 8 or 9 inches. And this one is a bit of a sad story because I only paid $2 for her at a yard sale. I am very, very careful with my packaging. Very careful. I take a lot of time. I use a lot of extra packing materials. I double boxed for the most part, and this one still arrived broken. So I paid $2 and sold her for $18, but then I did end up refunding the buyer. However, I filed a claim with USPS. And I don't know about you all, but I've been having a lot of luck lately with USPS paying out claims. All I do is I just kind of screenshot the sold listing, as well as I ask the buyer to please send me a picture of the packaging with the label on it and a picture of the broken item just for me to have. I don't always have to upload the picture of the package, with the label on it, but they have come back and asked me for it at least one time, and so I was glad I had it. But you definitely will need the buyer to send you a picture of the damaged item, and then I just submit that, and then a couple of weeks later in the mail I get a check. So I'm happy that they're paying out these claims. I wish we weren't having so many. I've had 3 within the last like 4 weeks, which to me is a lot, but I guess it's just all part of it, and I know they're trying to move mail really quickly because it's Christmas, but still. Those things, especially the vintage items, they're just hard to replace. So made me kind of sad that it broke. But in cases like that, I just let the buyer keep it because I'm not going to resell it. I'm not going to fix it and try to resell it, not for an $18 item. So I said, just keep it, do with it what you will, and refunded the buyer. And like I said, I submitted the claim to USPS. Okay, next is this lot of 10 I Survived books. I saw these at a yard sale. I paid, I want to say $3 for the whole lot. I might have paid as much as $5 for the lot. And I listed them all together, obviously, and they sold for $18. They also shipped media mail, so that makes it a little bit more attractive to the buyer because the shipping is so much cheaper, even though sometimes books can really weigh things down. But I love picking up sets of Scholastic books, sets of paperback books, anything that is part of like a series. They do really well. One of the best lots that I ever sold was a lot of paperback books by Scholastic that were all about horses, because the horse series are really, really desirable. So definitely do a quick scan before you pass them by at a yard sale or at an estate sale, because a lot of those do sell very high, like surprisingly high. Next is this Isle of Cats board game, which I also picked up at that church yard sale at my conference during my lunch break. I paid only $2 for this, and this game I had never even heard of, but it was new, it was sealed, and I know people like cats. Not me in particular, but I know there are people that are really into cats, so I figured, I'm just going to take a chance on it, and it sold really quickly for $20. I can't remember what I had it listed for, maybe $24, $26, but I took an offer of $20, and like I said, it moved fast, so I was happy with that. This Jemmy animated plush dog is for Christmas time, and I want to say he sings like "Who Let the Dogs Out" or something like that, and he is precious. He works perfectly. He did not have any battery corrosion or anything. I paid $2 for him at a yard sale, and he sold for $22. I sold another Hummel figurine, and this one is the Do I Dare figurine. It is trademark 8. That's what its rating is. And if you know anything about Hummels, and I didn't before I found them at this one sale where the collector was unloading all of her Hummels, but they all have a TMK rating of a number. So like TMK 1 is trademark 1, and it's based upon the trademark that is on the bottom of the statue. And so that is how you're able to age the statue and pinpoint, is this a vintage Hummel? Is it more of a contemporary Hummel? And there are pages in Pinterest that will allow you to identify these different trademarks. So this one was trademark 8, which is much more of a contemporary trademark, but it was a first edition. And because it was a first edition of the statue, it was very desirable. I only paid $3 for it, which surprised me because this was at an estate sale, not at that yard sale. I found this one at an estate sale a few weeks later. Well, then I got the statue home, and I realized the reason it was only $3 is because her little foot was repaired. And so that greatly decreased the value, as you would imagine, but it still sold. So I just took a picture of it, noted it in the listing, and I turned my $3 investment into a $14 profit. It's not $14 in profit, but you know. So I probably profited about $7 after fees. Not something that I would have picked up had I seen the chip or the crack. I wouldn't have picked her up. I will not pick up things that are repaired. But like I said, I had already gotten this one home, so I figured let me just give it a try, and I was glad I did because it sold fast. You never know. Okay, in the beginning of yard selling season, I picked up a full set of Lennox Little Town of Bethlehem nativity set. And she had all of the figures, but none of them were in the boxes, and she did not have the crash. She only had the figures, but they were in awesome condition. And so I picked them all up for $30, and I've just been slowly selling them since the summer because, like I said, I list Christmas all year round. And so this one is Balthasar, one of the wise men, and he was not as desirable. I'm guesstimating I paid about $5 for him, maybe a little bit less, and he sold for $20. Now, I've had a couple of them sell for over $100, so I have definitely made my money back and then some. And I want to say I only have one or maybe two more left. Okay, this is another vintage Hummel, which is Morning Stroll, and this one is trademark 7. And I paid $3 for this, and she sold for $30. So I'm slowly but surely selling off the Hummels. I actually still have about 4, maybe only 3 that I just haven't gotten listed yet, because you know how it is. You're all excited about it. You start making your way through your pile, then you go to another sale, and then you're excited about the stuff you picked up. And so I've just moved on and continued to move on. So this week is probably a good week for me to dig that out of my death pile and get it listed. This other vintage Hummel is Letter to Santa, and this one I had the box for. And so it being Christmas and all that, I paid $5 for it, and it sold for $36. I knew it was going to move out because of the Christmas season, and it did not disappoint. These Lenox Holiday Tartan Coasters I picked up at the same sale where I picked up the lot of French Garden Villeroy Boch for $30. They had these, and I paid $1 a piece, probably a little bit less because she really did make me a bundle deal, but $1 each for these sets of coasters. They are just tartan Christmas coasters, tartan patterned, and so they are both new and in the package. They are like cork backed coasters, and they sold fairly quickly for $14 for both of the packages. So next are these black men's Skechers. They are in a size 13. They looked to be new without the tags. Awesome condition. They are their version of like a work shoe, and I knew that they were going to sell, and they did. I paid $2 for these at a yard sale, and they sold for $34. I picked up this Chico's animal print shirt at a yard sale a couple of weeks ago for only $1. It is 3/4 sleeves, button-down shirt. I typically do not pick up Chico's clothing unless it's new with tags. The market is just saturated. They just don't tend to move. However, this one was only $1. It's no iron, and it was a size 3X, and it was very crisp. It felt new without tags. So I did pay $1 for it, and it sold for $14, and it sold pretty quickly within 2 to 3 weeks of having listed it. I don't know if you remember when I picked up all of those vintage trains. I still have some to list, but a lot of them have sold. Well, at that same yard sale, they had this new old stock Lazy Daisy dryer, and it is from the 90s. Like, it's way vintage. And she was like, please just take it for $5. So I did, and it's been listed a hot minute, probably about 6 months, but it finally sold for $68. I was so excited to get that out of my inventory. It was taking up so much room. You have no idea, but that was another good pickup. And then the last thing in this What Sold video is a set of 8 dinner plates for Villeroy Boch, French Garden, Orange, all of them in perfect condition. It was no joy to me to be wrapping all of these dishes separately, but I did it. They made it there in one piece. I paid only $10 tops for all 8 of those plates, and they sold for $136. So like I said, I have more than made up my money back for my investment in Villeroy Boch, and I am going to get the rest of it listed, please God, by the end of this week. So hoping that I haven't waited too long on that with Q4 coming to an end, sadly. All right, guys, so in total, that is 30 items that I paid only $97 for, which makes my cost of goods or average cost of goods for those 30 items $30.23 an item. I sold everything for $1,072. I paid fees approximately in the amount of $139.36. I think that's actually a little bit high because I did count 13% in fees on all those things that I paid in Mercari, and Mercari doesn't charge fees. However, I figured that's offset by the things I sold in Poshmark where I pay 20% in fees. So I estimated $139.36 in fees for a profit of $932.64, which is not too shabby. Pretty good. Q4 has been decent for me. I feel like it's lagging a little bit compared to past Q4s, but still steadily selling, just a few weeks away from Christmas. So keeping my fingers crossed. I also usually see an uptick in sales in the beginning of January. I think people, once they get through Christmas, they get their Christmas money and, they start buying things on eBay. I'm hoping that holds true again this year. We shall see. All right, guys, that's everything for this What Sold video. As always, hit the subscribe button down below if this is your kind of content. I will catch you next week with a Thrift With Me video. Bye, guys.